Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a pretty significant court decision.
Yes, it involves Peter Norchuku, the husband of the late gospel singer osinachi Norchuku.
Exactly. We've got a report here on the verdict, and we just want to break down what the court found and, what it all means based on this specific text.
Right. In this case, well, it got a lot of public attention, didn't it? Osinachi Norchuku was a very well-known gospel artist.
She was. And her death and the accusations against her husband, it was widely reported.
Very much so. Peter Norchuku was accused of causing her death.
And now we have this development. Justice Nuwasu Iyame at the FCT High Court in Abuja has delivered a verdict. So let's dive in. What's the main outcome here?
The headline from this report is stark. Peter Norchuku has been sentenced to death by hanging.
Wow, death by hanging. Okay. For what specific charge?
For culpable homicide. The court found him guilty of that.
Culpable homicide. And the finding was that this directly caused Osinachi's death.
Yes. The report states the court determined his actions directly resulted in her death back on April 8th, 2022.
Okay, so a direct causal link established in the court's view. How did they reach that conclusion? What about the legal standard?
Well, the judge concluded that the prosecution did its job. They successfully met the legal burden of proof needed for this specific conviction.
Burden of proof met. So the evidence was considered strong enough by the court.
Apparently so. Strong enough for a culpable homicide conviction, according to this report.
This didn't happen overnight, though. When did the court case actually begin?
Let's see. The report mentions his arraignment was on June 3rd, 2022.
June 2022. So it's been going through the system for a bit.
Yes, a fair amount of time.
And who brought the charges? Was it the family or?
No, this was brought by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation.
Ah, so the federal government itself.
Yes, acting on behalf of the government, which, signals how seriously they took it.
Definitely. Now, the report mentions a 23-count charge. That's a lot. Culpable homicide was the one leading to the death sentence, but what else was he facing?
Yeah, 23 counts is significant. The report lists others like criminal intimidation,
Okay.
cruelty to children, criminal intimidation of children, and also spousal battery.
Right. So while the death penalty is tied specifically to the homicide finding.
Exactly. But these other charges, they certainly suggest a much wider pattern of alleged abuse, as described in the charges.
It paints a grim picture. So let's quickly recap based on this source. Peter Nwachukwu, husband of Osinachi Nwachukwu, sentenced to death by hanging,
Correct,
Yeah.
for culpable homicide.
which the court found directly caused her death in April 2022.
Yes, and the conviction came after the prosecution, representing the federal government, met the necessary burden of proof.
That seems to be the core of it from this report.
That's the essence, yes. The death sentence for culpable homicide is the central point here, based on the court's evaluation of the evidence presented.
It's a heavy outcome. And thinking about the severity, death by hanging, plus all those other charges related to domestic issues, it really makes you pause.
It does.
What does this kind of legal outcome, suggest to you about how the justice system might be viewing these tragic domestic violence cases that end in death?
That's really the provocative question, isn't it? It pushes us to consider the weight the justice system gives to fatal domestic violence.
Yeah, like how seriously are they tackling the protection of people within domestic situations, and what signal does a sentence like this send?
Exactly. It raises profound questions about accountability and, frankly, the message being sent about the consequences of such devastating actions within a family context. It highlights the absolute tragedy of domestic violence. Okay, so subscribe, like, comment, and share.